whether it takes place or not, he'd be a fool to overlook the job in hand. And the job in hand is Deontay Wilder. And we're training for Wilder. Forget about the rest of it. All that's pie in the sky. What's not pie in the sky is Deontay Wilder. And this time, he's going to do an even better job. Because I don't believe Deontay Wilder can bring any more to the table than what he's bringing. You know, he's still got the same team. You know, he's still got them around him, and I don't know what they can teach him, what they didn't teach him last time. All he's going to get this time, Deontay Wilder's probably smashed to pieces a lot earlier, a lot sooner. But listen, there's more to it again. He'll see another game plan coming from Tyson, different to what he's seen last time. So Wilder's not going to know what's hit him, to be honest with you. It's a mistake on his team's part, putting him straight back in. I would not have done that. If I was looking after Deontay Wilder, I would not have put him straight back in front of Tyson Fury with the beating he got last time, because he got the worst beatdown a defending champion's ever had in history. I've never seen one as bad, and I'm 50 odd years old. Never seen a beatdown like that from a defending champion, but he got it. And it takes time to come back from that.
Wow. Those are the words of John Fury, and that's a lot to take in. John Fury is not a man that's lost for words. He had a lot to say in a very little time. But what he did say was a handful, and let's counterpunch what he said. He said that, first of all, Tyson Fury would be a fool to overlook Deontay Wilder. Why? Because Deontay Wilder can punch like a mother sucker. Alabama sledgehammer. He has the punch. He does. Where was the punch that night? $1 million question. Okay? Because he was able to deliver it, able to throw it, land it, or whatnot. Okay? So, it's one of those things. However, he will smash him earlier. He still has the same team. That's true. You know, what can they teach him that they didn't teach him last time? That's also true. Okay, now let me counterpunch that, because those were also further words from John Fury. John Fury said that, hey, he still has the same team, which is true. So the question you ask yourself, what can someone else do? You know, what can the same people do, rather, that can get him ready that they didn't do the last time? That makes a lot of sense. However, Wilder, he did bring in 2 more people. Now, what these 2 people will bring to the table, who knows? Are they specialists? Or are they extra sparring partners that help with the style of Fury? Who really knows? We don't know. Because basing on what the hand-to-hand, close-quarters combat between infighting, mid-range fighting between Tyson Fury and Wilder was, Wilder beat him to the punch. He beat him to the punch, and when they got close, Fury knew how to hold when he got his punches off. You know, Wilder needs room to throw those punches. So Wilder's going to have to get those punches off sooner. Now, the same people are there. We know about the snakes in the grass. I did a total different video about that, which I will release in time. But John Fury's right in theory. You know, if the same people are in his team, will those same people teach him the same thing or something new that he didn't do before? So that's a very good question. That's a very, very interesting statement from John Fury. Now, as far as saying, hey, I wouldn't have brought him back into the rematch this quick, I would have gave him 2 or 3 tune-up fights, I have to disagree with that. Why? Because Deontay Wilder could not afford to take 2 fights off and fight lower opposition at this point of his career. Why? Because people have already accused him, blasted him. You know, that's been his jacket of fighting lower opposition. Okay? And he's at a point of no return. He can't go back and fight 2 people. He has a contract, and he has a certain time frame to that contract. So if he did, you know, if it was the best idea to fight someone else, then, you know, to get his confidence and stuff back, if it was a good idea, the rematch could slip between his hands. Let me give you a prime example. Look at Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather, and that fight was nothing like the fight we seen in February. However, Oscar De La Hoya, being the cash cow, had the rematch clause. Vladimir Klitschko had the rematch clause. Okay? These are examples of people having rematch clauses, but what happened in between? Floyd Mayweather did some shit where, hey, I fought Ricky Hatton, then I retired. Okay, so it could always, who's to say that if Wilder did fight someone else, Tyson Fury wouldn't have pulled something like, hey, well, you know what? I'm going to retire now. You know what I mean? Or it's been too long, or I'm fighting someone else. So, no, Wilder, I think it was imperative for Wilder to come right back in there because it's a point of no return, because I think the only window of time that he had was to fight Tyson Fury right after. You know, and then plus, what is that saying to his rival? Joshua did it last year when he took his first L. Deontay Wilder better be able to do it too. You're going to have skeptics all over the place. So, no, Wilder could not do that. He couldn't afford to do that. He had to take this fight. He couldn't take two. He couldn't fight Adam Kalnaki, then someone like Charles Martin, then come back to Fury. No, because by the time the time that fight gets negotiated after he's already fought twice, Tyson Fury, for one, could have lost the belt to someone, you know, or started fighting Anthony Joshua. And if he starts fighting Joshua, who's to say he would ever get the opportunity again? Because there's too much money between those two guys being champions at the same time, being from the same place. Counterpunch. So, no, I don't think that's a good idea. Now, will he be any better? Only time will tell. You know, but the thing I give Deontay Wilder is a puncher's chance because he's still a dangerous opponent. He's a dangerous opponent to anybody that he can hit. Now, if he can't hit Tyson Fury, okay, the same shit's going to happen probably sooner like John Fury predicted, because he predicted the same thing last time. People forget. That's why this interview is so important to me, and it piques interest because John Fury, he already counterpunched. Wilder will be stopped, and Wilder was. And I think John Fury said like something like 8 or 9 rounds, didn't he not? So yes, that's exactly what happens. That's why this interview is so interesting. And John Fury, again, is sticking to his guns. Now, the question I do ask myself is, okay, what he's saying that Tyson Fury's focused on, what he's saying that Tyson Fury's training to, who he's training to beat, Deontay Wilder. You know, it just has to, it lets me know, and I have to ask the question, right? How close is he during the training camp with Javon and Tyson? So he must be pretty close to say these type of things, you know, or is he saying something that sounds good to be saying it, or is he really seeing evidence of Tyson Fury actually training for this particular fighter? That's my question I would have for John Fury. But anyway, these are the comments of John Fury. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.